that you have all of your patterns. Front top, back top, front skirt, back skirt, skirt overlap, collar, sleeve. Sew up the darts on the front and back skirt. Fold the collar into half and sew along the short edges with a 1 cm seam allowance. Grab a pair of scissors and snip into the seam allowances to reduce the bulk. Turn it inside out and iron well. Sew the front and back top panels together along the shoulder with a 1 cm seam allowance. Along the front neckline, mark out the collar notch. Mark out the shoulder notches on the collar panel. Match up the notches on the collar and neckline. Place the start of the collar along the collar notch. Place the shoulder notch on the shoulder seam. Fold over the front fabric. Pin the panels down to secure. And sew from the center front, stopping exactly at the shoulder seam with a 1 cm seam allowance. Repeat on the other side. Match the shoulder notch to the shoulder seam and the start of the collar to the collar notch. Sew the panels together, stopping exactly at the shoulder seam with a 1 cm seam allowance. Grab a pair of scissors and snip into the seam allowances to reduce the tension. Make sure to snip exactly at the shoulder seam. Turn inside out and iron well. Let's take a look at the back neck. At the back neckline, there are 3 layers. Sew the bottom 2 layers together with a 1 cm seam allowance. Start and end exactly at the shoulder seams. Grab a pair of scissors and snip into the seam allowances to reduce the tension. Then push up all the seam allowances and iron well. Flip down the collar and tuck in the 1 cm seam allowance. Ensure that the fold covers the stitching line below. And iron well. To seal it up, sew from the right side in the ditch from shoulder to shoulder. Make sure to catch the folded edge below. On the wearer's right, machine sew the buttonholes. Following the notch on the paper pattern, overlap the wearer's right over the left and baste along the waist to secure. To sew the top to the skirt, sew 2 rows of gathering stitch to the bottom of the front top panel. Gently gather the top to match the width of the skirt. Sew the panels together with a 1 cm seam allowance. Repeat this for the back. Sew 2 rows of gathering stitches on the back top. Gently gather the top to match the width of the back skirt, and sew the panels together with a 1 cm seam allowance. On the skirt overlap panel, fold the side panel and iron well, then sew along the top and bottom with a 5 cm seam allowance. Turn it inside out. And iron well. Top stitch along the top, side and bottom 4 cm from the folded edge. Position the skirt overlap panel to the front skirt, aligning it to the side seam. Baste with a 0.5 cm seam allowance. Mark out the notches on the sleeve panel. Then sew crimping stitch along the sleeve crown. With your notches marked on the top, sew the sleeve to the armhole with a 1 cm seam allowance. Mark out the zip notch on your top panels. Then sew the zipper along the wearer's right, starting from the zip notch with a 1 cm seam allowance. With the zip completed, finish up the rest of the side seam with a 1 cm seam allowance. Sew the wearer's left with a 1 cm seam allowance. Fold up the sleeve hem by 1.5 cm and iron well. Then top stitch 1 cm from the folded edge. Repeat for the other side. For the skirt hem, fold up by 1.5 cm and iron well. Then top stitch 1 cm from the folded edge. Finally, hand sew the buttons on the front, as well as the skirt overlap. And there you have it. Your dress is completed.